Good morning, all of you. In today's session, we are going to start with the 10th standard chemistry and physics. Unit number 11, principles of metallurgy. Series number 7 is going to be discussed. In the earlier session, we completed about what is meant by metallurgy, how can we separate mineral, ore, and metal, and what are the strategic methods in order to convert a crude product into a purified metal, and what type of strategies, what type of methods are there in order to separate different type of metals into their purified form. All those topics were discussed. In the previous session, we completed what is meant by corrosion, what happens if corrosion is possible, and what is the chemical method of rusting of iron. Those topics were completed. Now, we entered into series number 7, and how can we prevent that corrosion is going to be discussed in today's session. In addition to all this, earlier we completed Unit 1 to Unit 10, entire detailed explanation available in the channel called World of Competitive Chemistry. Let us enter into this series number 7 of Unit 11, Principles of Metallurgy. How can we prevent this corrosion? Corrosion is a process of natural phenomenon. Whenever metal is in contact with either moisture or air, that involved in deterioration, and that is the process of oxidation. So here, that metal when corroded, what kind of consequences we will face? What happens? Huge annual loss due to the corrosion is a national waste. Why it will be? Because extraction followed by molding followed by applying of all the materials is highly expensive process. Even for melting of one metal, we require to go for a specified kind of heating chamber. That is not possible in a general way. That's the reason why entire process of metal extraction and further molding and blending with some other materials in order to make it is user friendly, and also for the fabrication into different models, entire thing will be highly expensive in nature. After getting all the things, if that involved in such a kind of deterioration, what happens? That will regarded as a national waste, and that should be absolutely minimized. And materials already exist in which, if properly used, can eliminate 80% of corrosion loss. So instead of focusing on the extraction of new materials, why can't we go with the already existing materials? How can we prevent, how can we provide a proper kind of mechanism in order to avoid the rusting and in order to minimize such a kind of deterioration? Because metal will not be deteriorated even after 100 years, its properties will not change. That's the reason why that can be recycled for several times, in order to what move towards the sustainability. Instead of going for the extraction of new one, why can't we go for the proper protection, otherwise molding into one into any other? So many times, so many cycles of usage we can apply this metal, because that will not decay, that will not uh, uh, may not be converted into a waste one, because it can be recycled for several times, whatever the iron rod you're taking. So that can be blended with some other material, and you can mold into any other article as well. So in that manner, so we have to go for the sophisticated and sustainable methods in order to minimize the rate of corrosion and extraction. All these we can minimize if we focus on that, and proper understanding of the basics of corrosion. So in order to avoid the corrosion, first of all, we have to know how it will be corroded and what kind of criteria in order to deteriorate that metal, and what kind of ingredients we can add in order to minimize that one, and what kind of blending process is required. And all these things we have to know in detail. Then only it is possible to avoid this rate of corrosion as much as possible. Prevention of corrosion is the prime importance. It is not only save the money, but also help the prevention of accidents and collapses, bridge failures. So here, so already we know that most of the infrastructure development is associated with this blending of materials, blending of metallic materials especially. So for any building construction, we are using these stainless steel rods, and even bridge construction, railways, tracks are made up of these, and machinery are made up of these. so that if it is not properly treated, so what happens? Collapse of those materials are possible, explosion may be possible, failure of those machinery are possible. So many kind of impact we will face, not only economic loss, but also human lives may be destroyed if a bridge collapse or any accidental incident may be possible. So that's the reason why it's a very important in order, very important to prevent this corrosion. So here, so many methods are available. We can go with the coating with the normal organic paint. Otherwise, any kind of metal can be blended with any other metal. That one metal can be coated with any other metal. Otherwise, spraying is also possible on the surface of one metal on the any other. So many kind of methods are available in order to protect the metal from this corrosion. But most familiarly applied one is this is the kind of system where you can see these are the articles which are protected by coating with any other metal. So here chemical treatment is also possible, that is called a paint. But paint coating may not applicable in all the cases, only that is suitable for domestic purpose, because organic paints may not withstand for high strain, high load bearing capacity may not be present. So that's the reason when the domestic conditions, if you want to protect the metal by this corrosion, so organic coatings are the suitable option. And if you want to coat the metal which are working in the high load operations, especially in the industries, otherwise the transportation system, otherwise you may go with a building constructional material. In that case, we have to go through a suitable treatment method. So where even by high load application, even by abrasion, that may not be ruptured, that can withstand for high load applications as well. So in that case, one metal can be either protected by another coating material like a tin and a zinc. So such a materials can be applied on the surface of metal. So if you want to coat, for example, I'm taking iron, being it is most widely used metal in all the areas like industries and automobiles everywhere. So when we are taking iron, and in order to protect it from rusting process, that can be properly coated with the zinc. So I'm showing here. So this is the metal which to be protected, that is called a steel. For example, I'm taking a steel article here, and here is the zinc molten bath will be given, and we have to immerse this steel rod into this zinc which is in molten state, and after dipping into this one molten zinc which to be maintained with a 460 degrees centigrade temperature, and after dipping, what happens, entire zinc will be covered on the surface and the galvanized article is coming up, which will not corroded, which further may not participate in corrosion, even it is in contact with moisture, contact with oxygen, contact with any other impurities as well. So like this, here, this is the simplest method, most oftenly used industrial protective method for these metallic articles, especially iron containing articles get dipped into a zinc, which is under molten conditions, and galvanized articles are generated, and another called a tin. So whenever tin was taken, that used to coat on the surface, but the strength of tin coated articles are not as much as these zinc coated articles, galvanized articles, because tin is somewhat lesser strong, and moreover it will be cathodic protection method. And tin, whenever coated on the surface of these steel articles, that used to give the protection from corrosion, but load bearing application is comparatively less. Whenever abrasion is possible, this will be easily ruptured when compared to this zinc. But most oftenly used in household utensils, whenever we are using our household utensils, all those are coated, conveniently coated with this tin. And electroplating can be applied for this coating of zinc and tin on the surface of these steel articles in order to avoid the corrosion. And electrochemical method is to provide the sacrificial electrode of another metal which corrodes itself but saves the object. This is another method we can also apply, especially in the marine regions. We can apply this sacrificial anodic protection process, where one of the metal itself itself involved in a corrosion, but the entire base metal get protected. That is said to be a sacrificial electrochemical method in order to protect the base metal to be protected, right? So the sacrificial metals may be either magnesium and zinc can be taken, so which are used to coat on the surface whenever we are using these articles in the submarine regime, where saline water is used to facilitate the rate of corrosion of ship hulls or any submarines. So in that case, these magnesium and zinc metals when incorporated, that will prevent the rate of corrosion in the maximum extent. And next is about some of the facts which are related with the corrosion of metals and how can we prevent this one, and how the alloy formation is possible in order to increase the strength of materials, right? So here a new term called alloy. Alloy is nothing but mixture of metals. Sometimes they can be blended with non-metals as well in order to improve the fabricable or applicable qualities in a final product. So some of the metals under pure conditions may not be directly fabricated, and they are not having the commercial requirements, whatever required for their application. That's the reason why. So they can be blended with optimum quantity of materials. For example, when we are taking with iron, and that when added with the powdered carbon, so what happens, that will be converted into a steel, right? So here steel will be different kinds based on the composition of this iron and the carbon. When 3% of carbon get blended with iron, that is said to be a stainless steel, right? So here less than 3% carbon, more than 3% carbon are also valuable, but optimum limit of carbon blending will be up to 3%. So as much as carbon content increases, the strength of these alloy forms also increases, right? So that depends upon where we are applying these articles. If load bearing is high, so where abrasion is very large, in that condition, carbon content will be larger. So in that way, blending of this carbon is possible with iron in order to get the steel, and these steel may have constructional purpose, otherwise machinery manufacturing, automobiles, railway tracks, everywhere these kind of blended articles can be used, and they becomes very strong and resistant towards the corrosion, and so failures may not be possible. And one more thing we can remember about stainless steel. There is a difference between steel and stainless steel. Steel is the blend of iron and carbon. Mostly that is used for the constructional purpose. Otherwise, any industrial application, we can use that steel. But in case of stainless steel, most oftenly they are used in the household purpose, where iron can be blended with nickel and chromium. Nickel, chromium are regarded as a passive metals. Passive, nothing but they are corrosion resistant. Even though these are metals, may not participate in corrosion. They retard the corrosion. That's the reason why chromium and nickel can be blended with iron, so that here rusting is completely avoided. Now, the whatever utensils we are using at home, they may not participate in rusting, right? That is purely because of blending with the chromium and the nickel metals in the appropriate proportional manner. So that's the reason why here they are becoming corrosion resistant, because of such a blending that is called alloying. Alloying is nothing but mixing of various metals. Sometimes non-metals may be blended in the optimum proportion. So if we are adding lesser quantity of iron, greater quantity of carbon, that may not suitable for the application. That's the reason why optimum condition is the requirement here. Up to which extent we can add, up to which extent we can blend the materials, that proportion. So here that stoichiometric ratio is very important in order to make them into alloy forms. Here steel is made up of iron and carbon, and stainless steel is made up of iron, nickel, chromium along with the carbon. So here they are becoming corrosion resistant. Now, in either alloy form, we can observe which is a most familiar one, that is a gold. You can oftenly hear 22 karat gold and 24 karat gold as well. What's the main difference between these two? As already we are aware that gold is not at all used in a pure form, always it is in a soft one. So being gold is a high malleable metal, it can be extended to maximum extent. That's the reason why. So itself, it is not used in order to mold into any kind of ornament. In order to imbibe the toughness, strength, and hardness into this material, either that can be blended with silver, otherwise copper. So let us differentiate 22 karat and 24 karat gold. So both we are going to differentiate here. 24 karat gold is nothing but 24 karat gold is that any one which available in the market is of 99.99% pure. Almost you can regard it as 100%. So that means the purest form of gold will be indicated in a 24 karat. 100% gold will be there. Right. Then what about 22 karat gold? 22 karat gold persists. So where 22 carats of gold will be there, remaining 2% of either blending with the silver or copper in order to make it into a suitable form for the ornamental preparation. So in this way, here along with these two, these are most oftenly used. 22 and 24 karat golds are available. Along with these, 12 karat, 14 karat, 22 karat, 24 karat gold is also available. Right. So this is the main differentiation between 22 karat and 24 karat gold. Now we clearly understood what is the process of alloying, what is the requirement of alloying, and how extent we have to blend the materials. So if that optimum level should be maintained, then only what properties we are expecting, that will be executed. Otherwise, that may not withstand for the external conditions. So optimum proportional mixing is required in order to make the alloy form, right? So additives are required in order to make into a fabricable form of that metal. So this is about alloying of metals. So by this we completed the session. In this session we extensively discussed about what are the preventive methods of corrosion, what is meant by galvanization, what is meant by tinning, and what is electroplating, and how can we apply electroplating for this galvanization and tinning, and what is the process of alloying, how steel formation is possible, stainless steel is originated, and next is about what's the difference between 22 karat gold and 24 karat gold. What happens if we are using 24 karat gold as such for the making of ornaments. All these topics got completed. Hope this session will helpful for your preparation. Thank you very much for your consistent listening. Thank you one and all.